Recording in progress.
Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, @real_G Warner. You can join me anywhere you'd like across social media platforms at @real_G Warner, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course on Patreon, patreon.com/real_G Warner. The best spot to get all my plays, leans, write-ups across all sports. Go check it out. I just tweeted out that we are live on our @real_G Warner Twitter account, which I don't think I mentioned. But we're going to go through the Europa League round of 16 card, just as we did the Champions League, discussing the individual bets in this first leg, plus also the two advanced numbers that are out there. All lines are quoted courtesy of BetOnline or Sportsbetting.ag sister sites. If you'd like to join and you haven't yet, it's a great spot to save some money on juice, and that's the name of the game in this sport. And if you want an account there, please hit me up at @real_G Warner across any social media platform, and I will refer you. Also want to thank those of you that are watching, listening, any sort of doing with an ing at the end on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify under the Betting the Pitch name. If you could leave a 5-star review, it's huge for the search rankings. And let me know if you want some expansion, as I have a potential possibility to expand into F1 if that's of interest to some, though I need to do a lot of learning and reading on it really, really quickly to become a knowledgeable podcast host, especially on a betting podcast. But if that's of interest to you, please hit me up at @real_G Warner across any social media platform, or especially in a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. That would be huge. So we're going to go through each of the matches. I'll split up for the ultimate best bet, 35 and 12, 75% year to date. I will split up the early window and the late window, pick a best bet from each, and then smash them together in that 1-minute video at @real_G Warner on YouTube and on Instagram. And then we'll choose one as the pick that you can grade this podcast on. It's been a great run this year. Thanks for all the support. Of course, all of you who I don't have in front of me right now, but all my Patreon subscribers, thank you for all the support. It helps me keep the lights on and allow me to pays for the lap dances. Just kidding. We'll start in the Europa League on this Thursday, March 6th, recording actually before Thursday, March 6th. So recording it Wednesday, March 5th, the night before. We'll start for FCSB, a Bucharest of Romanian side. They are hosting Lyon, as I appropriately wear my Lyon practice shirt. Currently, FCSB, 3/4 goal underdogs with all the juice totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. Now, Lyon and anyone that's playing on the road in this first leg were the seeded sides that got buys into this round after the league play. Certainly a stronger club from France, but honestly, France is does not get given a ton of respect across any of these European marketplaces, though they did close a favorite to Liverpool today in Champions League. So that is saying something. Maybe it's a new world ahead of us. But regardless, I think Lyon are the much stronger side here. Of course, much bigger budget. FCSB coming off maybe an upset, you could argue, certainly when they eliminated PAOK in the round previous. I can actually check that. I might as well say that before I move along too far. Two advanced numbers. So initially, let's see, we had FCSB. They were, plus 150 underdog to get through. Took a lead in the first leg on the road in Greece, and then at home won there. So a pretty good performance for the Romanian side. Lyon, they haven't had to play. They got the week off, which is important. They are fighting and are climbing up the Ligue 1 table in France. They've got a lot of financial issues, potentially like permanent or not permanent, excuse me, but a potential automatic relegation to Ligue 2 in France, which would be a huge, huge fall for them, and especially for their American investors. But as of now, that's not yet looking like it's going to occur. At least we haven't heard it yet, though that certainly does put pressure on performing and making more money every leg of this competition. So FCSB, 3/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice, totals 2.5, juice almost all the way to over. And two advanced number here, FCSB plus 315, so $315 for your $100 bet. If you want to bet Lyon to advance, you got to minus 420. Smoke them if you got them. 420 to win 100. So clearly Lyon about 85% or so to move through, if I can do that math off the top of my head. And they probably deserve it because they're at home the second leg, which I think is a big, big advantage. Plus, they're a lot better and are favored in Bucharest. With that said, it's a little bit bigger than the number I made. So if I'm making a pick on every game and that I'll eventually smash and choose into an ultimate best bet end of show, I am interested in FCSB as a home underdog. I think I like that more than the under 2.5, though they certainly do correlate unders and underdogs. We'll move next to AZ Alkmaar hosting Tottenham. Currently AZ from the Eredivisie in Holland. They're half a goal underdog with all the juice. Total is 3, juiced all the way to under. Now Tottenham, I don't think played this weekend in the FA Cup, so they've had some time to rest. Good for them, bad for AZ Alkmaar. AZ Alkmaar had a wild first tie that they took advantage of and then held on to advance to this round. And honestly, have been pretty good, I think, in this competition, but nothing really noteworthy. And they're certainly one of the lower of the big name clubs in the Dutch Eredivisie. Tottenham on the other side, they're going to get bet because the English sides always seem to. So I would certainly be on the lookout. If you are interested in the AZ side, I would not rush into it yet. We've already seen them climb from quarter goal underdogs to the current half of a goal with all the juice. Total is 3, just all the way to under. And honestly, it's kind of rare to see a Tottenham total juice to the under in any sort of way, unless it's 4. And that does give me some interest, some pause. I've been expecting that these knockout ties would be a lot lower scoring than they have been so far. And we'll see if this is the round where it occurs. I'm not sure, but certainly Tottenham will be playing Ange ball. It looked like he was getting a little bit more conservative, pragmatic, whatever word you'd like to use there. But I think good results are only going to encourage their manager to take a ton of risks. So I'm not interested in any under here at Joe Dollar, one of my Patreon subscribers, a long time. I'm sure he'll love that. But I think from a bet or interest in this game, I lean to the home underdog, though I do think along those lines, I do think that the road favorites will take results away from home. They don't want to lose. And honestly, as we saw in the Champions League this week, I think we'll see some teams that are accepting of a 1-goal loss. So move next to Real Sociedad hosting Manchester United in probably the clash of the biggest titans, if you will, the English Premier League against Spanish La Liga. Currently, Real Sociedad, a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice. Totals 2.25, juice more to the over. They are also minus 110. So split money both ways to advance. I usually look for plus money on my interest for to advance numbers, but I do like Real Sociedad certainly at home. I'm a little bit surprised to see them this big of a favorite, trending towards half of a goal. The total at 2.25 does always interest me, as Real Sociedad unders are always something for me. Especially these two teams did play this weekend. Manchester United played a pretty full side as they're trying to desperately find form in any competition they can. This was the FA Cup at home to Fulham. Real Sociedad on the other side, they had Copa del Rey midweek, which they lost a very tight 1-0 affair with Real Madrid at home, then went on the road to Barcelona in one of the most difficult weeks possible, and now in comes Manchester United. Fortunately for them, Manchester United has not been very good. Plus, I think you could say that Real Sociedad basically decided that they'd be more focused on this matchup than they would be on Champions League, on the Copa del Rey. They went all out for the Copa del Rey. I wish I could hit rewind on that. Okay, so Real Sociedad, a couple years ago in Champions League, they were then going for it on all competitions, Copa del Rey, Champions League, which they won a group with Inter, and then also in La Liga, and then they fell apart and their team basically went to hell. They didn't do that this year, and surprisingly enough, they decided that a trip to Montjuic to take on Barcelona, that was going to be the game they're going to give up. They started well, but 10 minutes in, hard to say, and then their replacement captain took a red card, and things went terribly wrong. But that does make Real Sociedad's first-team players better rested for this matchup, while Manchester United played an FA Cup match that they probably needed to win because they're an FA Cup. They're just a cup side at this point. But this is a cup competition, certainly caters towards Manchester United. But I don't think United are going to go on the road and try to dominate this game. Real Sociedad, on the other hand, they're going to possess the ball. They're going to keep it away from Manchester United. And I think it's going to set up okay for Manchester United because they really want to counterattack, at least they have for a long time. But what they will do if Real Sociedad have the ball is they will start with 3 center backs, as Ruben Amorim refuses to play any other system than what he played and did really well with at Sporting Lisboa in the Portuguese Liga. But he doesn't have the personnel for it. And I'd love to be against it. I think my interest on the side here potentially is Real Sociedad as a minus 110 favorite, or minus 110 both ways, but minus 110 the Real Sociedad home team to advance here. Because if they get a win first leg, that'll certainly change. And you could most likely get Manchester United as an underdog at home in the second leg. But with that said, a draw away certainly would make Manchester United a favorite at home. They're basically won already. And of course, a win would do even more than that. But for my interest in this one, I'll go Manchester United, Real Sociedad under 2.25 goals, as I just don't really trust Manchester United to score. I've been trying to play against their offense all season, and I do think they're going to play a lot of defensive players. And say Real Sociedad, they're going to control the ball, but I think it's going to turn into one of those, let's see how many you can score against us, which it might not be many. To the last of the early window, then I'll nominate one for my best bet. We'll go Fenerbahce hosting Rangers. Currently Fenerbahce, a 1-goal favorite. All the juice on Rangers away. Total is 3, just all the way to under. And Rangers, seeded team, big underdog away. Yes, Fenerbahce looked good in the Europa League last round, but I don't know that was very impressive. And honestly, like Fenerbahce, I mean, they've got the special one as their manager, and unfortunately that makes them really overpriced, I think. Let's see. As I look up to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. So yeah, Fenerbahce were paired or pitted against Anderlecht, who had overperformed their abilities, got a lot of worldy goals from outside the box during the Europa League qualifying or league campaign. And then Fenerbahce were a 1-3 favorite to advance. So not a surprise they did go through. So I don't know that Fenerbahce deserve to be this big of a favorite. Rangers travel really well. They certainly are going to be a team I want to back at home as an underdog if we get that there. I'd imagine with home field advantage flipping, I think we might see Rangers still, if they're a 1-goal underdog on the road in Turkey, then they should be at least a quarter of a goal, I would expect, at home. With that said, it's very different here. I think that Rangers are going to go on the road and try to be very defensive, trying to keep a Fenerbahce side, which do have some big names and goal scorers in their team. And Jose Mourinho is actually scoring goals and seemingly attacking for them, which is so weird. But maybe new year, new special one, or new year, new Mourinho. But Rangers to me, I think late night with the real _ G1 and the yawns are back. Rangers 1-goal underdog. I'm interested there. Also lean to under 3, as I think we see potentially Rangers go on the road and try to keep this tight, as you think anyone away first leg would. But I think that might cater pretty well. I've also been ignoring the 2 advanced numbers. My bad. Odds at Alkmaar currently plus 240 to get through to Tottenham minus 310. Tottenham, the second leg at home, is going to take a pretty big win for AZ Alkmaar to be a favorite, or to make the plus 240 worth it, or else you're trying to get a result in England, most likely. Real Sociedad minus 110 to Manchester United. I guess I didn't ignore that one. Last is the game we just talked about. Fenerbahce 1-2 odds right now. Rangers plus 162 the other way. Pretty big price on a team that I think has a great home field advantage. Will look and to me look like an overpriced underdog away from home. So pretty interested in Rangers plus 1 under 3 goals as they try to keep this tight on the road in Turkey, and honestly the plus 162 for the 2 advance. And I think all of that going the same direction is really nice. So I'll go Rangers under 3 goals as my best bet in the early slate of this March 6th episode of the Europa League. But stick around. We're going to go through the later window, and then we'll, of course, get best bets end of show to hopefully add on to a 35-12, 75% record year to date. And in terms of things to plug, I expect to be doing a Friday college basketball podcast with Big East Ben on the pregame.com podcast network. We just locked in our housing for Final Four weekend in San Antonio. So if you're out there, please holler at us. And also we will be doing, I guess, summarizing the season, but getting ready for the last conference play day for the major conferences. And then we'll be joining you the week after for conference tournament prep. Of course, my Patreon subscribers, you've been so loyal that I will probably be doing my annual go through every stage of the NCAA tournament bracket exclusively to Patreon. If there are any other ideas or something you'd like, especially if you're a Patreon subscriber, please hit me up at the real _ G Warner across any social media platform. Or you could leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify under Betting the Pitch. So we'll go to the late window. We'll go Roma hosting Athletic Club Bilbao, probably the second biggest names or biggest named matchup. We've got Roma quarter goal favorites at home. All the juice on Athletic Club. Total is 2.25 to slightly to under. So Roma have been great at home and did get through a tough Porto side to get to this level of competition. Athletic Club Bilbao were off, and Athletic Club were in a really great position going on the road to Atletico Madrid last weekend. especially Atleti coming off of their wild up and down match at Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. But Athletic Club did succumb to a really strong Atletico Madrid side that's very deep and is eventually going to run a gas, but hopefully not, because I do have 2 advanced numbers on them in both the Copa del Rey and the Champions League on home second legs. But Roma, to me, are a different side. They're better, way better at home, but I don't think they're as strong as they have been in the past. I think Claudio Ranieri has done a great job as their 3rd manager of the season to stabilize. But I think Athletic Club are a better side. So I'm interested in backing them as a quarter goal underdog here. It does feel it's a very expensive quarter, so clearly the market's kind of agreeing with me. And at Pick'em, I think I'd actually lean more to the Roma side, at least for the first leg. Under 2.25 is of interest to me as well. I think Athletic Club Bilbao go in and try to keep this a low-scoring matchup, use their pace on counterattacks. I think that fits very well for Athletic Club, and probably makes me more interested in the side to advance here than the current side. But Athletic Club, as they should be, favored to advance with the second leg at home, -130 to Roma +105. Let's see where the line moves on that one before we get involved. We'll move next to Ajax hosting Eintracht Frankfurt, which would have been a big name matchup until Ajax's struggles and why they're in the Europa League. Currently, Ajax quarter goal favorites right now. Total is 2.75 juice all the way to over. All the juice on Eintracht Frankfurt as a quarter goal underdog away. Eintracht Frankfurt got smashed by Bayer Leverkusen the week after getting smashed by Bayern München. Of course, they won't ever have 2 matches back-to-back as difficult as the first and second teams in the German Bundesliga. But I think we've seen some problems in the Eintracht Frankfurt defense. I expect them to improve against an inferior side, but it is on the road. It is against a tough Dutch Eredivisie crowd on the road in Amsterdam. I just don't think that all works very well for Eintracht here. Plus, they're trying to figure out how to play without Omar Mamouche, who was so good. Honestly, won me a lot of money before his move to Manchester City mid-season. They panic bought as much as they could. Unfortunately, I don't think I can trust Eintracht at this point. Ajax, an incredible advance considering they were down. They had a 2-0 aggregate lead going on from a road match at home to Union Saint-Gilloise, and had a red card very early and still somehow survived to extra time and advanced there. But I would love to see them an underdog. We'll look at the 2 advanced numbers. Currently, Ajax +130 to Eintracht Frankfurt -160. I think that's a lot about having the second leg at home. But I think I'm interested in seeing kind of what happens in this matchup, potentially backing Ajax the second round. Francesco Farioli, certainly not the under guy that I thought he was or would be at Ajax, especially coming off some really over and just no defense at all played by this Dutch side. But I do think we could see some goals in this matchup. Joe Dollar is another over for you. I don't think I want much to do with this one, as that's not really my style. But lean to Eintracht Frankfurt as the quarter goal underdog. It's very expensive at the moment. Move next to the last 2 matches on our list. We'll go Bodo Glimt, or Bodo Glimt, I believe is how they're pronouncing it in Norway or Denmark, whatever. Olympiacos on the road. And Bodo Glimt, surprisingly, Bodo Glimt a quarter goal favorite at home. More juice on Olympiacos, as it should be. But I'm pretty surprised. I was going to say impressed, but I really wasn't impressed by Bodo Glimt. But they did have an incredible second leg, which looked like it was going dead under. I think it scored 3 goals in stoppage time to send it over. Let's please not have any more of those. Please, to the whatever gods or spaghetti monsters that are out there. I'm not sure I can take many more of those. Total is 2.5 in this one, juice pretty heavily to over. I lean to Olympiacos. I like them as just a club that I think Greek giant that spends a ton of money concerning Greek inflation or Greek economy. But really, I think we see Bodo Glimt as a surprising favorite here to me. So I'm interested in Olympiacos as a quarter goal underdog. I have not liked Bodo Glimt's defense at all. So I will avoid a Bodo Glimt under. Instead, just lean to the side here. And the 2 advanced number, Bodo Glimt currently a +102 compared to Olympiacos -125. Makes sense. Seeded team with home field advantage. Honestly, feels a little cheap on Olympiacos, but I guess I've been off on this one the entire time. Last but not least, Victoria Plzeň, the last team I have alive in my Europa League Champions League pool. No, I will not be winning. Thank you, Juventus, Red Bull Leipzig. You are really horrible to me. Actually, I do have Roma too, but I think I'm way dead at this point. But anyway, Victoria Plzeň, a half a goal underdog at home with almost all the juice to Lazio. I think the number 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken, from Serie A in Italy. Total's 2.5 in this one, just slightly more to over. So Vittorio Plzeň, I feel like I thought they'd be all defense all the time, which I guess I thought Europa League would be that way and has not been this season. But this is going to be a tough challenge for Lazio. They've not been playing as well as they did to start the season, playing a lot of matches, had Milan on Sunday after Coppa Italia midweek, both on the road. Pretty tough schedule for Milan and Inter, both in the same week. And now they go on the road to a very likely cold Czechia to Plzeň, and hopefully they'll be avoiding the Pilsner Raquels if you're backing them. But I like the home underdog. I do think that there's that big tough travel week and against the best clubs in Serie A, and certainly the most historic, or some of the most historic of the Seven Sisters or whatever. I like the home underdog, and I'll lean to under 2.5 as those correlate. In terms of 2 advanced number, Vittorio Plzeň plus 330 to get through. Lazio minus 450. Pretty expensive for Lazio, and they are better, and they have second leg at home. But we'll see what type of damage FC Vittorio Plzeň can do in that first leg. So for the ultimate best bet portion of the show, I also got to nominate. I'll go Athletic Club Bilbao under 2.25 goals as my favorite from the late window in the UEFA Europa League. Where's my phone? I need to acquire that for the 1 minute reel. So sorry for coming off camera for a second. I know that's really going to drop the live viewership. But let's see. It's time for the ultimate best bet. We have a good record this year. We're going to try to keep that alive and keep that going and growing and all those sort of things. And then, yeah, I think we're ready to go. Other than that, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/real_G Warner. It's time to get into this. Hey, this is real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the ultimate best bet from the Betting the Pitch Europa League Soccer Edition from the round of 16. I take my favorite bet from the early window, the late window. I smash them together in this 1 minute video at the real_G Warner across social media platforms. And we are 32 and 15, 75% year to date. In the early window, I like Rangers under 3 goals. And in the late, I like Athletic Club Bilbao under 2.25 goals. But for the ultimate best bet on this episode, I'm going to go with Rangers Football Club on the road in Istanbul. 1 goal underdog, I like 2 advanced number, plus 162. I like that as well. But ultimately, Rangers under 3 goals. I think we see a traveling fan base. Hopefully it doesn't get too many fights, but it's probably going to happen. But I just don't think Fenerbahce is this strong. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for them. And I think we see the road team come in, try to control the game and keep it low scoring. So go Rangers under 3 goals on the road at Fenerbahce. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. See you on the next set of episodes on whatever podcast I do next. But thank you for subscribing, and check out my Patreon, patreon.com/real_G Warner.
Recording stopped.